Me, Cody, and David jumped the fence and began to walk to the house when we noticed that we could hear footsteps coming from behind us. But no one was there. The moonlight was showing us that no one was there. But it didn't make us stop, and we walked a little bit more to the house, then more footsteps. But none that sounded like they were coming into the house towards us. They stopped right in front of us. This is when we should have turned and ran, but we didn't. That's when the strangest thing happened. We could see the house plain as day, but as we got closer, it looked like a tree sprouted up and started growing. Each time we took a step, the tree would grow faster and bigger. Hey y'all, welcome and welcome back. Today I have several followers' stories to read to you today, but it's just from like one person, but it's like several of their experiences. I was gonna do several stories, and I already like filmed the intro and planned on doing several, but this one was rather long. Like I think I'm at 23 minutes right now, so I'm just gonna trim these, move everything around and just do this one today. So hope you enjoy. Like always, if you have any stories you would like for me to read, please send them to the email in the description, and just put YouTube either in the description bar of the email or just somewhere at the top so I know, or they may end up on TikTok. But without further ado, let's get into these stories, and they're quite frightening. There's stories of haunted graveyards, possession, things walking around in the woods that shouldn't be, a haunted house. It's rough. Let's get into it. I'm not sure how your YouTube channel got on my radar, but I'm glad it is. Your videos are really good, and seeing how you tell people's stories, I wanted to give you mine. I must give you some background on me, and that I have a spiritual guardian that goes by the name Spike. He showed it to me in my late teens, and he protects me when I sleep or gives me a feeling if something isn't right. He doesn't like anything or anyone who tries to hurt me. For example, one of my ex-friends said I spiritually walk when I sleep and felt my spiritual energy walk the town we live in like I'm on guard. She also told me that I have a lichen spirit in me, which makes sense since I have a wolf for one of my spirit guides. Anyways, to my stories, or I won't shut up. I'm from a small town in Missouri, and I'm gonna leave the name out for privacy. The first story I'm gonna tell you is the first time me and some friends went to an abandoned house on a dirt road that one of my other friends named Andrew told me about. This house there had no electricity and no one living inside of it, and half of it was boarded up. If you were brave enough to walk in the front door, you could hear the radio broadcast from the 1950s and people talking. Well, this story got me and my other friend Ray excited to go and see what's what. So a small group of us, Justice, Cody, David, and Wesley, went about on this full moon night. It took us a while on foot, but when we began approaching the road that the house was on, Ray said that he could feel something very odd about this house. He said it felt like there were people watching. Justice said that he saw tall shadows up on the road from another house that was also abandoned. That's when Cody said that they were making it up to make us turn tail and go home. When we got to the bottom of the old driveway, we could see the old two-story house as plain as day. I said, all right, who's brave enough to walk up to the house with me? Cody said he would. Also David, the non-believer in ghosts, said he would. Ray, Wesley, and Justice said they would hang back, and since the two tall figures of the road looked like they were watching us. Me, Cody, and David jumped the fence and began to walk to the house when we noticed that we could hear footsteps coming from behind us. But no one was there. The moonlight was showing us that no one was there. But it didn't make us stop, and we walked a little bit more to the house, then more footsteps. But none that sounded like they were coming into the house towards us. They stopped right in front of us. This is when we should have turned and ran, but we didn't. That's when the strangest thing happened. We could see the house plain as day, but as we got closer, it looked like a tree sprouted up and started growing. Each time we took a step, the tree would grow faster and bigger. That's when we stopped walking towards this house. I asked the guys if they saw what I saw. Cody asked if the tree had magically grew out of nowhere. David didn't really know what to say. Then we heard footsteps again, and they were running to us from the side. We heard the dead leaves being stepped on, but no one was there. That's when we said, forget this, we're going home, and we booked it towards the other guys. When we got there, they asked us what was wrong, and we didn't want to stay any longer, so we told them we would tell them when we got back to Cody's grandpa's. And that was story 1. Let's get to story 2 of Spike's stories. My friend Ray and I wanted to start these little ghost hunts after that abandoned house incident. It was the middle of summer of 2008, and we were at Cody's grandpa's like usual, and we got to talking about doing the ghost hunting videos for YouTube, and it just so happens right down the street there was a graveyard. So we decided we would go there, and we asked Cody if he would also want to come, and he said no. So we left for the graveyard, and wouldn't you know it, nothing happened. But it didn't stop us, so I said I had some strange things happening in my room, like seeing shadows at the foot of my bed. Let's see what we could find there. On the way there, we passed this white 2-story house that we always see when we go to the gas station in town, but Ray was adamant that something was in that house up in the attic looking down from the window. I assured him that that place was not haunted. I've been in there plenty of times when I went to see my friends who lived there in the past, but he wouldn't let up. So I told him when we were going back to Cody's, we'll stop by and I'll show him. So when we were done with my house, nothing happened, what a shock. We went to this white house and the front door was wide open. Ray looked at me and said, I'm not going in. I looked at him and said, "Fine, I'll go in myself." And as I took my camera, I entered the house, and knowing the layout of the house, I knew where the stairs were. I slowly walked towards those stairs. When I was at the bottom of the stairs, camera in hand, something told me to take a picture from the bottom, so I did, and the flash went off, and I heard Ray yelling, "Something is coming down from the attic." By that time, I heard a little girl's voice right in front of me say, "Get out of my house." I bolted for the door, and as I got outside, I see Ray running down the street by the graveyard. I ran to catch up with him, and as I did, he slowed down. I asked Ray what the hell he was thinking leaving me back there. He caught his breath by saying sorry, but whatever was coming down got mad, and I told him I took a picture. Let's upload it to the laptop and see what I got. That's when Ray got a little bit weird. He started talking about that there was a little girl that got in the attic by her stepbrother, that he used a belt and... Well, I'm gonna blurb that out. Whoa, okay. Well, she didn't pass peacefully, and it was by the hands of her stepbrother. That we're gonna leave it there because holy cow. His voice was calm, but 5 minutes ago he could barely speak. I asked him if he was messing with me, but he didn't answer. We got back to Cody's and I uploaded the picture to my laptop. Cody asked us what happened and I told him, and Ray was eerily silent. All he did was nod his head. The picture showed us an outline of a little girl. I couldn't breathe. Cody couldn't believe it when Ray smiled and said, "Hey guys, let's go back and spend the night there. There are beds in the attic so we can be comfortable. There are also TVs up there so we can be entertained." Me and Cody were freaked out, and that's when Cody told Ray to go to the other room now. Ray laughed in a weird way, like you could hear a young girl laugh, and he simply got off of the bed and walked through the closet that connected the two rooms. I asked Cody if that actually just happened, and he confirmed that yes, that actually happened. 2 hours later, we were calming our nerves down by talking about games, whatever we could do. Then Ray burst through the door with, "Hey guys." My body jumps 10 feet out of the bed cot I was laying in. Cody asked him what the last thing he remembered was, and he said, "Walking to Spike's house." Cody said, "Ray, that was 2 hours ago." Ray was shocked and then asked, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, 2 hours went by." The look on his face confirmed that he had lost those 2 hours. Cody said, "Go to bed and we'll all talk about it in the morning." We went back to that house 2 other times with different people, but that was my experience with a friend who might have gotten possessed by that little girl. Ooh. Dog, that was scary. The next night, I was over at Cody's when our other friend Justice came over to hang out that night. Well, we told him the story about what happened to Ray, and he asked if I was brave enough to go back to that house, and I said, yeah. Well, later that night, we went to the house, and as we were getting closer to the attic, I noticed things up there that Ray had listed off to try to get me and Cody to spend the night. Now, I know Ray has never stepped foot in that house before because he told me. That's when I felt 2 tugs on my shirt, at the bottom left of my shirt, and the other was on my shoulder, next to the children's bed. I asked if someone behind me tugged my shirt, and Justice said that he did, chuckled, and then I asked him where he tugged my shirt. He told me the bottom left, and I asked him if he tugged my shirt on the shoulder, and that's when he lost his smile and said no. That's when we left the house. Later that night, he thought it would be funny to burst through my door when I was trying to go to bed, yelling something I'm not going to repeat here, but my body jumps out of the bed cot. I didn't kick the door this time, though. Justice and Cody said that it looked like I did the Thriller pose in midair from Michael Jackson. Story number 4. The third time we went to the house, we took our other friends, Tyler and Joey. Side note, Justice stayed outside. Joey said that he would go upstairs and see if anything was happening to anyone up there. He went up to the attic with Tyler and Cody right behind him. They only had gotten halfway up the stairs before they ran back down, saying that Joey saw shadows run past. That's when we said, let's check out the kitchen. Now, the kitchen had an island/bar looking thing that you couldn't see the oven, so Tyler started to walk in there. When he turned around, he said that there was something in there, and he saw them run beside the island. That's when I grabbed the tire iron that was on the ground and grabbed Cody's phone with the flashlight. I ran in there expecting a guy trying to jump us, but there was no one. Tyler swore up and down someone was in that kitchen. When Justice and Tyler came out of that house, he was pale. These are the haunted graveyard stories from the same person. So it was 3 or 4 weeks after me and Ray went to the house that he had gotten possessed at. We asked my dad if he knew any haunted places, and he confirmed that he knew of a graveyard in the middle of nowhere that him and my uncles would walk past every night after milking cows to get home when they were kids. He took us up there, showed us how to get there, and said him and his uncles would hear voices in the graveyard along with shadows and a woman in a white dress. And we went home, dropped off my dad, and went to Cody's, and we talked to our friends about the graveyard. We were going that night, and we asked who all was going, and the whole room said we're all going. So that night, we told Cody's grandpa what we were doing and that we shouldn't be out that late. So me, Ray, Justice, Jeremy, Nathan, and Cody all got in Ray's car. The air had a cool, crisp feeling, and the moon was full and blood red. When we got to the graveyard, Ray said that he was going to bring the camera after we jumped the gate, and there was this split up into 2 groups. Me and Ray went one way, and Cody, Nathan, and Justice and Jeremy went the other way. Ray said he felt a very mad spirit at the grave that was overgrown with grass. He didn't want to get close for right now, so he kept our distance from it, and that's when I realized that the graveyard felt way bigger than it should. I asked Ray if he had the same feeling, and he said, yeah, he had that feeling too. The moon was now white and bright, so we didn't think we needed a flashlight. We went through the graveyard, and as we did, we saw shadows in the woods beside of us. Now, the nearest house isn't by the graveyard, so that shouldn't be shadows there. Ray met up with the other guys now. Jeremy and Justice said they were ready to go back to the car, and Ray also said he was too. But me, Cody, and Nathan said we'll stay over in the graveyard for a bit, so we split up again, but the guys went to the car. So they were me, Cody, and Nathan walking back towards the woods where the shadows were. We tried to get them to talk for the camera, and the shadows looked like they were running in between the trees, and these trees weren't thick, they were skinny enough so that no one could hide behind. Nathan asked Cody to shine his cell phone light over there. Being 2008 and being a flip phone, the light wasn't very bright like today's phones, but still bright enough to see the trees. Anyway, when we did this, we see no one over there, and when Cody turned on the light, rocks started to be thrown at us. Well, we thought we could be brave and just walk over more, but more rocks got thrown at us faster, and clouds covered the moon. That's when we said, okay, we're leaving. We ran back to the car, but we took a wrong turn to get to the gate, so I was running, and something tried to grab me. I felt my shirt lift over my head, and that's when I thought I'd ran into barbed wire. But Cody was right there swinging his hand right in front of me. There's no fence. So we started to run the other way to the gate. The moon was clear now, and we could see the gate. I was the first person up and over the gate, but Justice said that I phased through the fence. I did not jump. And Nathan jumped over, and then lastly Cody. Ray started the car and stomped that gas pedal. The guys said they saw a lady in a white dress by the car. That's when the scratches on my own person kind of felt like they were starting to burn. We got to the road that Dad told us to take back home, and we stopped and all got out and stood by the truck lid, and the brake light showed us that I had 3 scratches from the belt buckle to my chest. Now this is where my memory gets a little fuzzy. I remember looking at the scratches, so Ray filled me in. Apparently Ray helped me to get to the back seat again where I sat. Before he closed the door, my voice changed. He said it changed to a high pitch like a child's voice, and all I said was 1, 2, Spike is coming. And that's when Ray jumped back and told everyone not to talk to me. He said I had my arms on the driver's seat and that I slumped over. The thing I remember is pulling into Cody's grandpa's driveway. I felt weird for a bit, but back to normal in no time. The next day, we uploaded the video to my laptop, and all we could see is black since we didn't have anything fancy like ghost hunters have. But we did see a strange ball of white light that we didn't see in person. That was mostly it. Okay, Haunted Graveyard Story 2. The next night, we took our other friend Tyler to the graveyard, and the only ones who went in the graveyard were me, Cody, and Tyler. Nothing really happened to us now. To Ray and Jeremy, who stayed in the car, on the other hand, while they saw a shadow crawl across the car's hood. That's when Ray flashed the lights telling us it's time to go. Haunted Graveyard Story 3. Me, Ray, and Nathan took our friends Corey and Nathan's little brother Wesley, both non-believers, to the graveyard. We told them not to go off on their own, but what do you think they did? Me, Ray, and Nathan were talking and walking through the graves, and it felt like forever before they came back. But when they did, they said they wanted to go back to Cody's. Now, Corey would never tell us what he saw that night, but he became a believer, and he said he would never go back to that graveyard. Wesley said he saw some shadows and a woman in white running in the woods, but unlike Corey, he said he would do ghost hunts with us again. Haunted Graveyard Story number 4. Me, Ray, Cody, David, and my other friend named CJ went to the graveyard with cameras in hand just to have fun. We haven't been there since we took Corey and Wesley, so Ray and I were going, and whoever wanted to jump in the car did. That night, nothing really happened. That's what we thought, but the cameras picked up some creepy stuff. If you want to see the video, you can find it on Ray's YouTube channel. I will be finding that and inserting it, is what I'll be doing.
Just checking it around.
Haunted Graveyard Story number 5. And looks like this is the final one. So it's been a year since we've gone to that graveyard, but this night was different because it was Friday the 13th, 2009. Me, Ray, Cody, and our friend Jesse went to the graveyard. Now, to say this visit was normal would be lying. Jesse's black, and this graveyard has some Confederates buried in there. Anyways, we get there, and it feels a little off, so we stood by the big tree trying to get a sign of anything, and that's when Jesse yells out, "We have a black president." The wind blew, and it blew hard after he said that. We just walked around for a bit, and Ray heard footsteps walking and running towards him. Cody said he felt someone putting their hand on his gut and twisting it, not letting it go. I felt eyes watching us, and they were angry. I looked at Ray and said I think it was time to go, and everyone agreed. As we were leaving, Ray said that it felt like something ran through him. We all heard footsteps when we got to the car, and it felt like there were knees in the back of my seat. I asked Cody if it was him, and he said it wasn't. He jokingly said it was Casper, and Jesse stuck out his hand and jokingly said, "Hi, Casper." And that's when he felt a ghostly hand grace his hand. Later the next day, Ray told me that he had a bottle of red wine in the back seat, and he did some reading about it. Apparently, red wine gives spiritual ghosts more power. that is all for today. That was technically just one story, but it was a bunch like piled into one, so it still counts as several. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys are as scared as I am because some of those were rough. But I will see you guys tomorrow. I forgot what I'm posting tomorrow. I don't know. Anyways, talk to you guys later. Bye. You can't just be in the frame, you know? I'm gonna have to start this whole story over because I fear your big head was just in the frame. Yeah. I see your ears. Like, you're not hiding. Yeah, see? See? Sugars? You have sugars? If you're gonna get in my camera and you're not gonna give me kisses.